What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today's the day of the massive update coming to Black Ops 4. This is by far the biggest update we've seen for this game so far. And with this, we've had a ton of information coming out from all over the place. And in today's video, I wanted to bring that all together and give you an overview of what you can expect with today's update and the new operation that we're getting, as well as what we can expect in the future with Black Ops 4. Keep in mind, this video is only going to be focusing on multiplayer as well as Blackout. I'm not a zombies channel, so I'm simply not going to be talking about it at all. So let's kick it off with multiplayer, and the first thing I wanted to point out that applies to all of the modes is we finally got a roadmap for what we can expect to see within the near future for Black Ops 4, and this is excellent to see, but it doesn't necessarily cover everything we're going to be seeing in this update, so don't just look at this image and assume that's everything. We've got more details to cover. So for multiplayer, the first thing that we're going to be seeing with the update that comes today is Operation Grand Heist, and with this comes Outrider from Black Ops 3. Now, it's no surprise that Outrider's ability is going to be the Sparrow. So this is really similar to the bow that we were used to from Black Ops 3, although it looks like they have reworked it a little bit. It does have a flatter trajectory, and it also looks completely different. That's one thing I really like about this. There's no reused assets here that I can see. She was pretty much rebuilt from the ground up, as far as I can tell. So the Sparrow is going to be her ability, and the Hawk is going to be her special issue equipment. Now, the Hawk is kind of cool. It's like a recon drone that you can deploy, and you can fly it around and position it. Then you can park it in a place looking over an area, and once you do that, you go back to your character, so you start controlling your character again. You can run around shooting people. Anytime an enemy walks within the line of sight of where you place that drone, they will get a red box around them, kind of like the red box you see when you're targeting somebody with a score streak. They will get a similar red box around them, but only for you, not for your entire team, just for you. Now, unfortunately, at this point, I don't have any gameplay of this to share with you, although very, very soon we will have access to this update, so you'll be able to try it for yourself. For those wondering, yes, I was invited out to Treyarch to capture some gameplay of this, but unfortunately, it's just too far to travel for a short DLC event. I'm living in Norway now, so for me to travel all the way over to LA and back again for a really quick DLC event, it just doesn't really make too much sense for me. So unfortunately, like I said, I don't have any gameplay to share with you guys, but I do have the details to share. So that's Outrider. I'm definitely looking forward to this specialist. I don't think she's going to be nearly as disruptive to the gameplay flow as Zero was, although I am also hoping that Cold-Blooded will be at least a soft counter to this Hawk. Otherwise, in the right hands, I feel like that might be extremely powerful. Next up for multiplayer, finally, we're going to be getting League play, although not directly with this event like today. Instead, we're going to be getting this on Thursday, which at least is very soon, although they are definitely very late with this League play system. I really feel like this should have been implemented months ago, but at least it is now 100% confirmed we will be seeing League play this Thursday. In addition to that, for multiplayer, we get two brand new guns that will presumably be added to the Contraband stream with another 100 tiers, just like the Daemon as well as the SWAT. And these two weapons are the Switchblade SMG, which looks like it has a moderate to somewhat high rate of fire, not quite as high as like the SOG, for instance, but not a really slow firing SMG by any means. And also the Rampage shotgun, which unfortunately appears to be quite similar to the Brecci from Black Ops 3. Not so much in the looks, it actually looks more like a SPAS 12, but in the performance, based on the gameplay I've seen of it, it does appear to be somewhat like the Brecci from Black Ops 3. I hope it's not actually as annoying and powerful as that, but that's something we'll have to wait and see. Keep in mind, within the next couple of days, I will have a video talking about the basic stats of these weapons before getting into their gun guides, probably next week. Next up for multiplayer, One in the Chamber will be returning, most likely as a limited time mode, but that's really exciting to see. That's something that I really enjoyed, mainly back in the Black Ops 1 days. I remember One in the Chamber, and I just loved it. So I am looking forward to seeing how that plays out in Black Ops 4. And of course, with this update comes major balancing. Now, I have gone over the overview of what we can expect to see with the weapon balancing in multiplayer in a video from a couple days ago. I will leave that link down below if you're interested in checking out those details, but there are going to be some pretty significant changes to many of the weapons for multiplayer. Now, for the people that have the Black Ops Pass, we're also getting two brand new maps with this event. And the first one is Lockup, which is set in a police station. And with this one, there looks to be a decent amount of verticality. Like, you could fight on the rooftop of the police station, but then you can also drop into the skylights and right into the actual police station itself, which looks pretty neat. And we've also got Casino, which, like it sounds, it is set in a casino. I also wanted to mention they have confirmed that these will be in regular rotation for Black Ops Pass holders immediately. Right on day one, these should start popping up in all of the playlists if you have the Black Ops Pass. Something else they also mentioned that wasn't shown on this roadmap is they're going to be revamping the blackjack system a little bit. They have confirmed that they're coming out with cases, or essentially supply drops, that apparently can be earned in-game. I'm hoping with daily and weekly contracts. I think that would be awesome. Or, of course, you can buy these with real money. Now, of course, at this point, we don't have all the details on this, so I could be mistaken here, but assuming these are cosmetic only and all of the new weapons are still going to be coming like we expect them to be coming within the Contraband stream, and also assuming that these can be earned by completing daily and weekly challenges, I am totally fine with having these supply cases added to the game. I think it would be great to have that added incentive to log in every day and complete those daily challenges or weekly challenges. I really like grinding towards something and having that little reward at the end of it. And if that reward happens to be a supply drop that gives me cosmetic items, I am totally fine with that. If, however, they start locking stat change weapons within these supply drops, then it's going to be a different story. But in either case, that's definitely something to keep an eye on, and I am interested to see exactly how these work. Now, some other things that I really like about the roadmap is they're not just showing us what's going to be coming with this update, they also gave us a little bit of what we can expect throughout this operation. One of the things I am most excited for is Infected will be coming out at some point throughout this operation. Keep in mind, that is not coming today, that is coming some point in the future. My guess would be either like next week or a couple weeks from now on PS4 at least. So I'm really excited to see how they implement Infected, and I hope they really do a good job with that because Infected is always a hit or miss sort of a game mode, I feel, depending on the Call of Duty game. Also, at some point throughout this operation, we will be seeing a Bare Bones playlist, which I'm sure a lot of people are very excited to see. I'm assuming this will be a specialist-free playlist, and it will most likely also have limited streaks, but I'm not too sure. In either case, the likelihood is Bare Bones is going to be a specialist-free mode. Also, Prop Hunt is coming at some point, which is really exciting, and Fracture. So actually, all of these modes are looking pretty promising. I'm excited for every single one of them in their own way, but like I said, probably most excited for Infected as well as that Bare Bones playlist. Also, something that will be coming later on during this event is the Shamrock Awe event. So this will likely be happening sometime right around the middle of March. And while we don't have any details on this yet, my guess is this is going to be like that Barbarian event where we got the Cap 45, so it will be like a mini event stream that is within the big event. And I think that would be great, especially if that comes with a new gun, because the Cap 45 pistol with the Barbarian event was super easy to earn, so I would like to see more of those types of events in the future. Now, one last thing I wanted to mention for multiplayer before we get into all of the big Blackout updates, and there's a lot of them. This is something that was mentioned that, once again, isn't coming directly with this update, but it will be coming probably throughout this operation. And that is, they're going to be doing more of those alternate lighting or alternate weather maps within multiplayer. So for example, we have Seaside Sunset as well as Firing Range Night currently. They are planning on doing more of those in the future with the maps that are already in the game. Well, this is a neat idea, and I really like the idea of changing up the weather as well as the time of day. I don't like how they've implemented Firing Range Night as well as Seaside Sunset. The way they have it now, they've essentially just thrown those in as brand new maps within the pool of maps. So now we have two versions of Firing Range and two versions of Seaside within that same pool of maps, and therefore you end up playing Firing Range and Seaside more than anything with that combination. Instead, I would love it if they kept creating these different versions of the map with different lighting and different time of day and different weather, but instead just have it coded as one map within the rotation, so you could never have Firing Range and Firing Range Night pop up together. You just have one Firing Range, but then from there, once Firing Range pops up, it will randomize which version of Firing Range you end up playing. I think that would be a far superior system for handling this. However, I don't think this is what's going to happen. I think they're just going to be adding them in like they did with Firing Range Night as well as Seaside Sunset. So that pretty much covers it for the things that we're going to be seeing for multiplayer. Now let's move into Blackout. And with Blackout, we are getting a ton of changes. First up, the map is going to be changing in quite a few areas. All of those areas I marked out from that blueprint video I talked about. They have made some change. In most cases, they've just added buildings or extended onto current buildings. But the big change is they've added Ghost Town. And Ghost Town is loosely based off of the Black Ops 3 version of Standoff called Outlaw. Now, it doesn't appear to be 100% the same layout. It's just going to sort of have a familiar look. And in addition to that, underneath Ghost Town, there's going to be an entire area under there as well in some caves. And if I'm not mistaken, that is from a previous Zombies map, but like I said, I am not a Zombies player, so I am completely clueless when it comes to that, but I think it's a neat addition to have that area underground as well. With this update, they're also going to be adding and changing some of the vehicles within Blackout. So we're going to be getting a police SUV, a police helicopter, a police boat that actually has a gun on it. So you're not going to be completely defenseless when you're in a boat, which is kind of nice to see because up until now, boats have basically just been a death trap. And also we have the Hot Pursuit mode, which will be coming this Friday. At this point, I don't have all the details on how Hot Pursuit is going to work, but this is going to be a completely new mode within Blackout, most likely limited time mode. And with this particular mode, we will also have access to a muscle car. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on the details of Hot Pursuit as we get closer to that day. Also, with this update to Blackout, we will have access to new characters, including the Cosmic Silverback, which is part of the Black Ops Pass. So if you have the Black Ops Pass, you should get instant access to the Cosmic Silverback skin. I'm mainly just looking forward to seeing some new character missions being added to the game. Also, we are going to be seeing some weapon balancing within Blackout. This is separate from the multiplayer balancing that's happening. We are not going to be getting that same multiplayer balancing attached to Blackout. However, in Blackout only, LMGs are now going to deal double the amount of damage to vehicles. So they are going to be a really effective counter to somebody that's on vehicles because in their current state, LMGs are really not all that useful in general. I think most people generally just leave them on the ground when they have access to an assault rifle or a tactical rifle. But after this update, LMGs are going to be quite good for taking those vehicles out. In addition to that, Vonderhaar did mention they will be slightly nerfing the ABR, which I think a lot of people will be happy to see because that gun is quite dominant when you're dealing against armor users. And speaking of armor, they are going to be adjusting armor, and I'm really happy to see this. This is the change that I was hoping they would have made in the first place to armor. And with this, they're going to be rebuffing level 1 as well as level 2 armor, pretty much back to the state they were in before they just recently nerfed them. So with this, level 2 and level 3 armor are going to have the same damage mitigation aside from headshots. So level 3 armor is now essentially going to be level 2 armor with head protection, and also I think it's going to have some extra durability so it will last a bit longer. And with that, they're also reverting that change they made to level 3 armor where it requires 10 of those armor repairs to repair it fully. You no longer need that. It'll be back where it was, where it will now only take 5 armor repairs to fully repair a level 3 armor, just like level 1 and level 2. This is the exact change that I was asking for before they made that last change to armor that I feel was really out of touch. So I'm really happy to see this. I think this is going to improve Blackout quite a bit because ever since they made that last armor change, I haven't had too much interest in playing Blackout simply because level 1 and level 2 armor felt practically useless, and I feel like the time to kill was simply too fast when you had armor equipped for a battle royale game. Now, for those of you guys that like that really fast time to kill in a battle royale, good news, at some point, keep in mind that's not coming with today's update, but at some point they have confirmed that they will be bringing in hardcore Blackout. This will likely just be a limited time mode, and I'm personally not interested in it at all, but I'm sure there are going to be some people interested in it, and I'll definitely check it out when it eventually comes. Now, one of the biggest updates to Blackout that is coming with today's update is the prestige system. They are going to have a full 10 prestiges for Blackout, and with this, they're also going to be reworking how the merit system works. Now, for those of you guys that have been level 80 for a long time, there's no news on whether you'll be reimbursed for any merits that you would have earned if you were actually going through the levels. Unfortunately, I feel like that's not going to be the case. But just know, from here on out, we do have a prestige system for Blackout, and hopefully that will stretch most of us at least until the end of the year so that we can continue leveling up and continue earning those merits and continue to have them mean something. Now, one relatively minor thing that I just thought was a little bit neat to point out is they're also going to have new drop packs for Blackout, which is a cosmetic thing, and it's basically that trail that falls behind you as you're dropping into the map. Fortnite has this. You'll now be able to customize those. They teased it right here where you can see some poker chips coming off as well as a purple trail rather than the standard red trail. And while that is really minor, I think it's a neat addition. It's nice to have those little extras within Blackout just so you can customize yourself as much as possible. Now, another thing that was mentioned within the roadmap, this is something that's coming down the road, but sometime within this operation, is going to be a spring map update. So not the map changes that we're getting today. We are getting those big map changes today, but the spring map update will be changing the colors and the lighting of the map. Kind of like when we had the fall update, or did they call it the winter update, but there's no snow? I don't know, where the leaves changed colors and they all became orange. Presumably, this spring update will just turn all the leaves back to green, and we'll probably have some more warm lighting within the map. Now, this just leaves us with one final thing to talk about with Blackout, and this is something we just have little teasers of, and this is what they're calling a new Blackout Experience, and it says that it's redacted. Now, this was actually teased at the end of the most recent trailer we got. With this image right here, you can see people dropping into the map at night, And you can also see them in the next frame where they're actually parachuting into Alcatraz. So this is going to be the Alcatraz map from Mob of the Dead. So a lot of people have been assuming that there's going to be a nighttime version of Blackout and they're going to add Alcatraz onto the map. Well, that's definitely a possibility. My take on this is, since they're calling it a new Blackout Experience, I kind of feel like this is going to be a side mode within Blackout, where it's not necessarily the full Blackout map that we're used to, but instead Blackout on a smaller scale at night within Alcatraz. Of course, this is just speculation on my end. I'm not 100% sure of that. Maybe we are just going to be getting a Blackout at night at some point in the future, and when they add that, they'll also be adding Alcatraz onto the map. But in either case, I'm really looking forward to seeing more details on this as time goes on. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's video on all of the major stuff you can expect to see with today's update for multiplayer as well as Blackout, as well as some of the stuff we can look forward to in the near future. As for the big question, is this going to be enough to bring back the player base and keep them back for a long period of time? I think it's hard to say, but I will say they did exceed my expectations with everything we've seen so far. I've been saying this for a couple weeks now. This big update they've been hinting at that we're getting today really has to knock it out of the park. It really has to blow us away. And honestly, after seeing the trailer, after seeing this roadmap of what we can expect, and after watching the live stream and hearing what we can be expecting to see and kind of the direction they're planning on taking things, it's looking very promising, but I am going to remain cautiously optimistic here. I know I'm definitely very excited to get my hands on this update. I know it's most likely going to keep me engaged at the very least for several weeks. I just hope they keep following through with this, and I hope this is going to be a pivotal moment in the life cycle of Black Ops 4, kind of like we saw last year with COD World War II, where it launched in not such a great state, in my opinion. It didn't seem like they were really listening to the community, and then once Condry was gone, it's like they pivoted from there, and the game suddenly improved so massively, but for a lot of people, it was just too late. I'm hoping this is what we're seeing with this update as well. I'm hoping this is where things change, but I guess that's something we'll just have to wait and see. Of course, I'd like to know your guys' opinion on this in the comment section below. Are you guys excited for this update? If you've left Black Ops 4, is this going to be something that brings you back to Black Ops 4? Just let me know what you guys are thinking down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.